Stanford. Steve Sarkisian, USC head coach, joining us. How do you feel after the win, Coach?
Well, I felt great right after the game, with the emotion of the win, and then you come back and you start looking at the tape and you go, "Geez, we got to play a lot better than that if we want to keep winning." So it's great to get a win, but in a way that for our guys to find a way to win the game. But I think we're a better football team than the way we played Saturday.
Do you watch the tape alone?
I watch it alone, then I watch it with the staff.
And then when did the players get to watch it with you?
We're watching it this morning with them. We're just going through it right now.
What drives you crazy when you look at that game? That you'll be vocal with your team?
Well, I think the thing that gets you on, when you come back and you watch the tape Sunday and then you get with the players is routine things that we've been doing since day one of training camp where whether it's collectively or individually, we revert to doing things that we've never practiced before. And some of that's natural on game day. Guys are instinctual and do things. Other ones, potential lack of focus, maybe the heat of the moment, whatever that is. But those are the ones that drive you crazy because you've seen a guy do something right time and time again, and then all of a sudden here's a critical third down and they do something that we've never practiced before. So you just try to keep them consistent as best you can.
How much does it bother you that this win is being overshadowed by what happened on the sidelines with Pat Hayden, the athletic director, coming down to discuss, argue, defend with the officials?
It's not overshadowed in our building, that's for sure. No, we're proud of our players. We're proud of the way they played. We're proud of their competitive nature and what they exhibited there, especially in the second half and into the fourth quarter. So, for us, as good as it's good or as bad as it's bad, really the focus is on Mondays for us is telling the truth, getting to the truth of how we won, why we won, and where we can improve.
How did it happen? Can you explain the circumstances? Because you don't see athletic directors running on the field very often.
I was flagged for a delay game penalty for standing in the white, which is a penalty. I was incorrect. At the time, I vehemently disagreed with the call, but by the letter of the law, I was wrong. And then got into a verbal discussion with the officials, and I felt like at that time I needed to get back to the game. I needed to get back to our team and focus on the game. So I made it a point to try to have Pat come down to kind of calm and get cooler heads. By the time Pat got there, it was already resolved. I regret calling Pat down. It wasn't his decision to come down. He's not in the best of health right now, and it's my job to manage the game, so I have to do a better job in the future. What got to you, though? Coaches have to have their composure. You're telling your players to have composure, but what was it that set you off? Well, I just disagreed with the call, but we're going to disagree with calls, and that's not okay. As I said to the team this morning, it wasn't okay the way I reacted. Did it help that Pat came down? Say that again? Did it help that Pat Hayden came down? I don't know that, quite honestly. I don't know if that helped us, get a sack fumble on third down, or if that helped Andre Hidari kick a 53-yard field goal. I'm not sure about all that, Quite honestly, this is an emotional game. We're an emotional team. We play as hard as we can every snap. And like I said, I was proud of the guys that they found a way to win in a hard-fought game. It was not beautiful and pretty and all those things. It was just a hard-fought win. How many scholarship players do you have? We've got a little over 60. We have about 57 eligible to play right now, guys that aren't redshirting and that are healthy. What's normal? What did Stanford have? I really don't know, quite honestly. I know that every team is allotted up to 85. Everybody's different. Everybody's numbers vary some. We're obviously, pretty significantly less than that. I think over time our number will get better as the years go on. But right now we don't have the numbers everybody else has. But that's okay. And I've said this to the team since day one. We're going to focus on what we do have, not what we don't. And the scholarship numbers will never be a crutch for us this season. Steve Sarkisian, USC head coach, after the win over Stanford. Next up will be Boston College coming up on Saturday night. How good is this team? Well, I like the team a lot. Again, a week ago, coming out of Fresno, all the high-flying points and yards and plays and all those things, everybody was thinking, well, that's just how it's going to be every time you take the field. That's not the case in football. Football, every weekend, every Saturday, every game takes on a new personality. So I was almost glad, Dan, quite honestly, that we had to have the hard-fought win, that we had to have a game where we didn't play great and had to find a way to win. So I think the jury's still out, and I think the jury's still out on everybody in college football. You know, we're just 2 games into this thing, as I just told the team. We've got a lot of work to do to improve individually and collectively. But I think we have a chance to be a very good football team. And, you know, like I said, it's proud of the win to go to Stanford where they hadn't lost in 17 straight home games, the 2-time defending conference champion, to go get that win. I was impressed with our guys.
You had a busy August, Steve. Had a lot of stuff going on. A lot of drama.
Always entertaining, right? Hollywood, USC.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to. Nobody prepares you for this. Like, you're trying to prepare to be a great coach. Now you got to deal with the guy who's jumped off a balcony or somebody who's accusing you of being a racist. You're trying to prepare for a season. How are you able to kind of compartmentalize that?
Well, I think that's exactly it. You know, you control what you can control. You do the best job you can do in educating your players on the different scenarios. But I jokingly said it to the staff, you know, the day of the Stanford game, the day of the Fresno game, that, you know, I was looking in section 13.3 of the head coach's manual. I didn't see any of that stuff in there on how to handle it. So you just deal with it as best you can, you know, and you try to be honest with your players and your team and not focus on the negatives of it all and focus on what you can control, and that's what we try to do all the way through it.
How do you use those as teaching, or do you use those as teaching moments with your players?
You know, we don't focus that much on it. I got to be honest with you, Dan. You know, I think for us, you know, we keep preaching this. You know, we're not going to be distracted by outside influences. We won't be motivated by outside influences. And so these were great learning lessons for us. Okay, here's potential distractions going on. Our ability to stay focused and go out and put our best foot forward is huge. And so hopefully the way we use this is that when a new distraction comes about, we can go back and lean on those and say, hey, we made it through this. This is how we did it, and this is how we'll continue to do it. You
can usually hear it in a voice of a coach that where it is in the season. You almost sound like mid-season here, Steve.
Well, I don't know. We got a long way to go, and as I said in there, we got a lot of things to clean up and fix. We need to coach better. We need to play better. We need to execute better. So we got a lot of work to do.
You know what? Put Pat Hayden in a Hans device up in the press box so he can't get out. You know, like a baby in a seat, car seat. You can't let him out. Okay.
You got it. And I told him I won't jump on his back anymore after games either. I know he's hurt.
Don't do that. Yeah, he's fragile here. Congrats on the win, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it, bud.
Steve Sarkisian, USC head coach.